Welcome to Trading Lounge and the indices. We're looking at the S&P here on the weekly chart, the cash market, and just to sort of work this particular count over here, we're looking at We're looking at 5 waves moving up through to here, which we'll look at in a little bit of detail in a moment, as wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and moving higher. Now obviously you know, that looking at this as a series of 1s and 2s to the upside would upset many Elliott people, and they would say that I'm crazy. I sort of understand that, but there's 2 ways to look at a market. You either, you know, like Elliott Wave International has always looked at you know, tops being in place. This was the top at the end of the world for them, and then obviously some of these tops were the same as well. Like I can't recall exactly which ones they were, but you're either always picking tops, or you're going to kind of look at markets continuing to the upside and growth, which they have been doing, you know, since mankind has basically started, you know. So you know, you go back to all sorts of markets back into the you know, 1300s and 1500s and 16s and 17s and so on and so on. They just keep expanding. That's what they do. So any movement down is really just a correction, even if whatever it's from, you know. So yeah, so we've got wave 2 into play. We're looking for wave 1 to move to the upside here, and that will be primary wave 1 up to this point and primary wave 2. So 1 and 2 of cycle degree will take us up to 3, 4 here and 5, and we're looking at 1 and 2 and wave 3 up yonder there, and in between here we're looking at the intermediate degree. So in this instance here we're looking for this top here being wave 1 and wave 2 coming into play here, and we've been working on 5 waves moving to the upside there. So I'll just put this onto here, and let's just go to the daily chart for a moment. So on the daily chart here, we're looking at this particular move going to the upside here for wave 1, and obviously this old top's going to play a part in that, and then we'll pull back. Now the wave 2 can pull back 61.8% exactly, or it could pull back 78.6. It could pull back 40% or whatever. It's something that we need to work through, that's all. Okay, so the other side of the coin is looking at this to the upside here. So I think I'll just go into a 2-hour chart. So this is the trend that we've got at the moment. We're looking for wave 1 to the upside. If we start to fill in the dots here for minor degree here, let me just organize this. Okay, so from this wave 1 and 2 here, we're looking up to wave 3, 4 and then 5 here. Now the extensions in wave from 2 to 3, the extensions in wave 3 here, so that means that the length of wave 1 and the length of wave 5 will be roughly the same, give or take that with a pinch of salt. And we're looking for this, you know, the old high over here for this, so back over yonder here, and we're looking at 1 and 2 and 3. Here is a special opportunity to join Trading Lounge for a 2-week trial for $1. And once that is completed, if you would like to stay with us, we're giving you a $29 a month, which is a 58% discount. Okay, so we're just going to leave that there for a little while, and you've got access to 7 analysts and a chat lounge. Let's have a quick look. This is your dashboard. You can set these shortcuts up through here, and next over here for stock checks and trade recommendations. Here we've got these portfolios. We've got these portfolios for stocks, crypto, forex and commodities, and through these trade recommendations here that gets populated through here. We've also got trade recommendations that populate through the charting program, which we'll have a look at in a moment. You've got a chat lounge here that you can talk to all the 7 analysts and to other folks as well. So this is really important because we upload a lot of information here, and basically the charts that come from the analyst section also populate through here, and these like this chart here gets uploaded through this area. And as I just mentioned, here we cover forex, cryptos, commodities. We cover hundreds of markets, right? So with 7 analysts, and you got access to all of those people and everything that we do. Yeah, also the trade recommendations from here. This is our charting program. It's designed for people that would like to learn Elliott Wave because it helps you with the rules for Elliott Wave. It's also got an algorithm here. This is also another little algo here. We've also got, this helps you with the wave information. This is the Elliott Wave AI functionality. Yeah, all the indicators. This is, this whole thing has been designed for Elliott Wave. And through here too, we can put on trade through here as well. These are trade recommendations, and you go to certain analysts to find out what they're trading through here. You can also through here as well select whichever analyst that you would like to look at as well. If you want to have a look at the wave counts for what Shane's doing, or Kitty Upon, or so on and so on, then you can look at their counts because they're working on this charting program. You can have a look at their counts at this point. So this is it's a bit special, this particular charting program here, and you'll also have access to this as well. So like I said, it's $1 to come and check us out, so it's not a big deal. We're pretty friendly, and this $29 here is a 58% discount, so you won't see this again for a while. So this is a good opportunity, and this will, once you allow this to roll over here, then you can continue with this. If you jump off of this, then that will be the end of it. Alrighty, thanks. 3 and 4 and 5, and between 4 and 5 here we're looking for a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll go from the 2-hour chart down into 15 minutes, and picking it up from this wave 4 here, we'll just drop in these wave structures here for that. And yep, so 1 we're looking at from wave 4 here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to make this wave 3 here, and then this wave 4 to come into play. Now how high that pushes up there, once again the extension's in wave 3 here, so wave 1 here and wave 5 could be roughly the same. So the levels to the upside here would put us in at the closest largest number to the upside is the 6,000 area there, so that's a likely sort of target at that point for that. Also too, this move up here over the last wee while here, these 3 odd days here, if we look at the S&P, the SPX here, we can see that the market has pushed up here on higher volume here, and then it's pushed up higher here but on lower volume, and then we've also got lower volume here as well. So what we're seeing is we're seeing the price push up, but we see volume diminishing. It doesn't mean that that's the top there, but it does give us a sentiment in that we have that divergence between price and volume, and that's what a lot of the indicators will sort of point out to you, but you don't need those sort of indicators because you can just see it in the price and volume. And yeah, so it's not going to go up forever on hot air, so we're looking for this wave 4 correction at some point. So coming back over here, we know that the price is, it gapped up here, and then it's gone a bit slower in the next range and started to have a bigger correction here. So there's all sorts of signs here telling us that the trend is slowing down to the upside. So so we can expect a move up here. How far it goes up, I don't know. All we can do is count 5 waves, and then we'll look for an ABC pattern here before heading higher. So it's going to be something of that nature. Now it could be possible to put this wave 3 over to here if you wanted to count it that way, and look at this as 1 and 2 here, and drag this wave 3 down onto this high over here. So that's also doable as well, but this is the main sort of consensus here. So the trend's still pushing to the upside. If we have a look at the SPY, it'll be the same as well, but in this case I've got wave 3 here, so I've counted a little bit differently here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's also doable rather than having the wave 3 over here. But having the wave 3 over here is in most cases the better bet. But yeah, it's just good to sort of have a look around and work things a little bit, and we'll just see how that plays out. But any push into new highs here above these highs here, at least above this high, then you know that it's moving up at that point. And if it drops below here, then it's likely to be pulling back to the 580 or the 5,800 on the other market. And have a look at the E-minis as well here. So I've got this one here counted slightly different again. You just have to bear with me. So on the E-minis here, it's the same in the bigger picture, but I've just counted it a little bit differently. So from this, we've got wave 3, 4 here, and going up for 5 of 3, and then the ABC. So it's still the same. We're still heading up into this wave 3 here. It's just that I've got this counted a little bit differently in here. But that's sort of where we are at the moment for this. So Thursday, so we'll probably be looking at this larger correction here next week, because if this trend to move up here could take 2 sessions, and that will be it's Thursday now, so Friday and Monday. So we'll just see how it sort of tops out at this point. But yeah, look, one of the main things is that with this whole trend is that you know, we're starting to get quite close. When we look at this here, where are we coming back into here for this one? You know, looking at 1 and 2 here. Yeah, we still got further up. We'll probably get further up actually. We'll probably make that 6.5 up there. I'm not quite sure with this wave, where this wave 1's going to end over here, but this wave 1 here. Anyway, all I can say for sure is that we'll be heading higher, but we'll start seeing, you know, we'll start seeing more corrections as we move up higher here. So even from this trend here, we've got, all trends have got a beginning, a middle, and then an ending process. So we're in the ending of this here before we get to a larger correction, and then we get to this one here. So that's where we are on that. Let's have a look at the NASDAQ. Okay, this is the cash market for the NASDAQ. So we've got waves 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. Okay. So from this wave 4 here going up to wave 5 here, you can see that we've got the beginning, we've got the middle here, and we're sort of closer towards the end of this particular trend here. Once that's completed, then we'll be looking for this ABC correction and then wave 4. So also with this is you need to understand that you need, if you've got any trades in the market, you need to stay in the trend. You know, you need to don't worry about picking tops, because that's a little bit dangerous, but just continue to look for trends. So if we place in this one here, we'll be looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and we'll just drop this into the 15-minute chart area here. And I've got this one and this wave 3 and 4 here that I've got. We could also count it as 1 and 2. I'll just see how this move here travels. So that means that in this case we've got 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So I could count this up here as a smaller 1 and 2 here, and then going into a third wave here. So there are some markets, you know, that we're long in at the moment that are really quite powerful to the upside. So Nvidia is a really good example of that. Google's in a series of 1s and 2s, so they're going to push higher. So some of these stocks are really sort of stepping out a little bit. So I'm just taking a conservative approach. But if I see this move up here become longer than this move of this third wave here, then I will look to 1 and 2 here, because this is how we're looking at a lot of stocks, with 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and moving to the upside. So in fact, basically we're looking here as 1 and 2 in a lot of stocks, and then 1 and 2 and looking at a third wave here. So I get it. It's the same old story, is that when we pick the low down here, we're basically criticized for trying to look at this as being bullish, and I never really had a case for it. But as it started to move up here further, more and more people came on board about it being sort of bullish, so and now as it gets sort of really bullish, we've got to be careful about this wave 1 and wave 2 here that can wipe those latecomers out in all of this as well. So it's a tricky little business getting it right, and then the trend can just keep continuing higher and slip away on you as well. So we need to be a little bit mindful of that. But yeah, so we've extended this out here, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up into this area here, and could probably look at that a little bit just on 15 minutes. I won't go to 5 minutes or 1 minute or anything, but yeah, so look, this wave 4 could get a little bit bigger, but the length of wave 1 here would take us up to somewhere up here, and I reckon the 21.5 is a good number, the 500 there, so for that, and then some sort of we know that the volume coming up here is diminishing, so we should sort of expect some type of correction. It's just something that we'll need to work through, that's all, before we go higher. This trend needs to rebalance a bit. But yeah, so how high we come up here, I mean, there's a decent travel there, isn't it? So maybe we do go up here in much higher. Our job, though, is to count 5 waves in that move up there, so we'll do that. If we look at the QQQ for a moment, I've also got this here sitting, see, in this case I've had this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I don't think that's correct, so I'll need to push this up to here, push this up to here. And it's okay being conservative in this case, and as you can see things change, you can kind of be a little bit more flexible. Now this little correction here for a wave 4 is a little bit small, so that's a bit of an issue, so I'll just see how that goes. But yeah, all I can say to you is that we will be going higher, and we need to just continue to work that to the upside. So that's the QQQ, but more importantly is the futures market. And the futures market here can look a little bit different again, because it's got those after hours there. But if we take it from the 20k here, the major level here, we're looking at 3 and ABC here for 4, and then 1 and 2 here. And in this case, I'm looking at 3 and 4 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the other ones, I've had this wave 3 over up here, right? But in this case, I've put it here, and I've worked every little sort of pattern, and it's just a different way of looking at it, but in a way it's kind of like all roads lead to Rome, and we're at the end of the day we're looking for this, if I can get it, this wave 3 here, and we can push that into there, and we'll see where that comes to at this point. So yeah, so I was looking at this being 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here. I could push that 2 over here as well, and then it gets a little bit sort of complicated here. So there's a couple of things that I could do here. I could bring the top of this wave 5 down on the top here and have a top here, so if it does drop down there, then you know that this wave 3 is already started, and we'll need to bring that down. But I think that we need to move up a little bit, and the best way I can look at this here is 1, 2, 3 ABC for 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1 and 2 here, and then continuing to build up here. But I wouldn't expect too much out of it because, you know, as I mentioned, these markets are moving up on lower volume now, so that divergence there. Anybody that's in is already in, so we need that rebalance on that. So let's have a look at the European markets. I have you can, if you're not out in this already, then we can move this. You can move this higher up here. That's what I was going to say. So, or you can be out. It doesn't really matter. But the thing is that I don't think we're going to come back that much. By the way, so probably when we're thinking about a stop here, probably under these little lows here, which would bring us under the 21,000 here. Then group 2 is the next movement here. The lower end of group 2 is 20,650. So you really want to under that. And then you've got 72 and the 800 here, the 80, 65, 72 and 80. So that's really where the stop is going to be able to support that if you wish to, you know, go higher at this point, get up to this sort of area up here, and I'll keep sort of adjusting that. But if you want to go through that to get to this, then yeah, you'll have to take some heat on that. Let's have a look at the DAX. Okay, with the DAX here, daily chart. The reason for showing the daily chart is that we are, you know, we're floating above the previous high here. We still don't have 5 waves up here. We're looking for wave 1 up here and then back for wave 2 at this point. So let's just go in here and fill in the gaps a little bit. Let's just start with a 2-hour chart, and let's just bring in. So we've got minor wave 1 and 2 here, and going up for 3. So I need to tie this. In fact, I got the DAX counted in 2 different ways. On the cash market here, I've got it going up for wave 3 here. On the futures market, I've got this wave 3 sitting over here. So I've got two ways to look at this. This would be in line with the S&P, putting it over here, and putting it over here would be counting it 5 waves. From wave 2 to wave 5 up here, 5 waves here. So it's a little bit in front of the S&P. So yeah, just sort of still mulling that over a little bit further. And then here we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and going up for wave 5 here. So I'm treating this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 moving into that space. So I'll just drop it into 15 minutes there and pick it up from that previous wave 4 low here, and just show you how I've worked through here on this. So so I'm looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and then wave 3 here. So maybe I've got that sitting in here. Yeah, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3, 4, 5 up here for the 3rd wave, the 4th wave here, and then going up to the 5th wave to make wave 3. I kind of like it. But I understand that we can also put this wave 3 sitting over here. So it'll just sort of be interesting. You know, if you were sort of day trading, obviously you don't day trade the cash market here, you could go long above that point there, because if it was this wave 4 here could end up being over here as well. I mean, that, you know, we talked about that on the futures market. Looking at this, is it's not the best looking 5 waves down here because it, you know, it's got overlap on all of that, but it does make a reasonable B wave over here, and then, you know, it doesn't make a nice 5 waves down here for like wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Do you know? We'll look at that on the future. So it's a little bit sort of tricky here, but the takeaway here is that just looking at the count in terms of this market pushing up as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and pushing up into this space here. Now the 23.8 here, I would be a bit mindful of that. So that's going to really hold the market to that point. So this is one way to look at it. The other way to look at it on the futures market is, if this is just as workable as well, and we'll see. You know, yesterday we were talking about you know, wave 3 here with the A wave here. We're looking for a B wave here, and we were talking about a particular price point here. I can't remember what it was now, 23.8. Yeah. So if we had got the first high above the level here, you know, then we could have gone long at that point, you know, this point over here that we're talking about. That was so we didn't miss anything to the upside. It was either going to do that or it was going to do that, and if it did this, we would do that, and then that would be that. But this is what's happening here, and this is like moving down further. So this gives a lot of credibility to this particular count in this case. So in this instance here, we would see this. You know, I mean, I could WXY this. I don't know if it's going to come down in 3 waves or 5 waves, but there would be some sort of, you know, relationship in terms of length to this length here, and then, you know, sort out, see which is the closest largest number over here for that as well. But yeah, this is a little bit more realistic. So we'll give it Thursday. We'll let Thursday play out. We'll see what Friday looks like. If Thursday, the end of Thursday session, if we can see that it's, you know, we've got a completed pattern, then we'll start looking at long trades, you know, short-term long trades to the upside there. But this is probably the main count, even though we're a little bit ahead of the other markets with this wave 3 here. So, and of course, if we do push up here, we'll be taking out that top there, so we could be looking up at, you know, 24.3, 24.5 at that point as well. Let's have a look at the okay, this is the futures market, and it's a daily chart, and we can see that as we've mentioned before, moving up through here. We're hitting the supply here, supply just meaning sellers, so that 8600 has been really quite important price point. And we can also see too that apart from the volatility at the low here, the trend travels quite nicely, but you can also see it arcing over as well, so it's really sort of bowing into that resistance there. And what we can expect is a lot of choppy volatility in that 8,500 to pretty much 86.50, 88 in that range there. So it's going to get I think the best way to look at it is to understand that we still need to move up for wave 3, then we need wave 4, and then we need wave 5 here. So, you know, if you're trading this market, the banks will you know, your banks or whatever you're leading these markets, you know, will be much the same as well. So in terms of stock in banks and things like that, we're better off waiting for this wave 2 to come into play. This is going to be slow and messy in this area here. Okay, of course I'll do my best to move into all of that. But just whack all those on there straight up, and we'll just go to the 2-hour chart and just get a bit of perspective on this. So we're looking at heading up into this wave 3 here, and we can push this over to here a little bit, and so on, and how far this wave 2 comes back, pay no attention to where I put it, but this eventually, all this consolidation in here, you know, from the resistance will be a great support for this wave 2 here. It'll give a good support, so that's going to be it's going to be horrible here but helpful over here. So this wave 4 that I've got here, it's sort of big enough and ugly enough at this point to be there. It doesn't mean that this can't come down here and then I'll need to put wave 4 over here. You know, technically wave 4 should go there, but I can see that there's a better count for it to go there in terms of an A and a B and a C wave here, and the C wave overlaps and it's all a little bit messy and all the rest of it. The thing here is that you can see that the resistance is here at the 86 here. So in a bit of a nutshell, if you wanted to go long, all you really needed to do was to go long above that top there, because if that's breached, any of these tops, next top, so if any of those are breached, then you know that you're good to go at that point. And you know, I can count wave 1 here with an ABC for wave 2. We could look at this as wave 1 with an A and a B and a C for wave 2 as well. So it's possible for it to push up there. Will it push up there? I'm not that sure, because the whole thing's a bit of a dog's breakfast, and it could quite easily be a wave 4 over here as well. So nothing's set in stone at this moment. The question to really ask ask is that what's the closest largest number, which is the 86 here, and then you ask yourself, is the closest largest number the tested support? Well, obviously not at the moment, is it? It's still resistance. For it to be support, it would need to push up and then drop back again and then take that high out. So in a way, it would need to push up, and it's going to be pushed back down, of course, and then it'll be need to push up there. So the proper way to do it, the English way, the proper way, would be to be taking that top out there. I can tell English jokes because my mother's English. So yeah, so a bit like that, and how far this goes up here, I don't know. And then we're going to get this wave 4, so it's going to be, you know, it's a tough zone to be in. You know, I would suggest looking at other markets in this space. I wouldn't try to navigate this one here. Okay, let's have a look at the Aussie market. Okay, this is a 2-hour chart, and it's the ASX 200 index, so it's the cash market. And the reason I'm showing it forward, not that we trade it, we'll have a look at the futures in a moment, is just to get a bit of an idea. So I'm really trying to fit it into the rest of the indices, and that means that heading up into this wave 3 here, and then into this wave 4, and then into this wave 5 here for this wave 1 and top. Now, will this be the top here? Will it go up further? All these sorts of questions I don't have an answer for. Of course, we can look at ratios and all those sort of things, but at the end of the day, it's better off to do the count. Now, I've got this moving up into this wave 3 here. On the futures market, it's a little bit different, so we could even have a top in, but I will try to let me just remind myself where we're at with this. Yeah, so right, so yeah, I'm just trying to sort of line things up a little bit. I could quite easily put this wave 3 here, like the DAX, put it over onto this top here. Right, so I'll just see how this goes here, but in a nutshell, we're looking for this, and then this, and then this up here. We've kind of, you know, we don't have an end to this story yet. We're getting close to the end here. You know, we've got these 1s and 2s in here, and then the third wave in here, and now we're getting to the end of the story here. So how it ends is we'll need a little bit of adjustment and those sorts of things. But basically, it's, you know, this is the picture. We need to talk about this little correction here, and also to understand as well the trading level. So we're at a major level here, so major level, and then we've got minor group 1, which is 10, 20, and 30. And normally when we get support on top of group 1 here, what it's actually doing is it's separating, being pulled back from this number here. So it's kind of like we've got a classic trading levels pattern in 2 ways here. We've got the arrival here, the reaction here, the first high above the level here, the ABC correction, and then moving up again. And then we've also got a smaller fractal, because that's what the markets are, just degrees of fractals. We've also got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the ABC correction here. So we need just to talk about this a little bit. So it is kind of looking good. I'm just going to drop this into a 15-minute chart, and I just want to talk about this a little bit. So I just want to talk about this correction. So I've got it here as the A wave here, and then an A wave here, a B wave here, because I've got a little sort of A, B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it kind of suits nicely, and then I can get 5 waves over to this one over here. So I could look at it as an A wave here, and a B wave here, and a C wave here, and we're finished at that point. I could realistically also sort of swing it this way, where we look at the B wave here with wave 1 here and 2 here, and 3 here, and then we come over here for another move down. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have another move down here. So, and this might even get a bit more complicated here, or do some sort of dance before coming down here and then going up here. I mean, it's kind of what I expect on a Thursday, actually. So what we can do is, no matter what happens, we can go long above this top here. That's the trigger. And if we do come down here, then what we would want to wait for is, you could buy at the low if you wanted to, or what I normally do is wait for the first impulse wave to come in, the first little the first little 5 waves to come in, and because once you've got the little first 5 waves here, then you'll have the ABC pattern, and all of this is really quite important, because if you get 5 waves here, then you're going to get another 5 waves up. Sure, this 5 waves up here could just be corrective and then roll over and come back down again, but having those 5 waves there and going along above this B wave here, that little B wave there, and having the stop there and then bringing the stop to here, that reduces the risk. So you're managing your exposure much better at this point. And then you'll have wave 1 here and 2 here, wave 3 will come up here, then there'll be wave 4 and then wave 5, and then there'll be another ABC pattern here and then up again. So you kind of got to wait, navigate this pullback over here if you're going to do that. And but then we can come over here, and then we can also look to go long at that point, that based on a bigger 5 wave move here, and then this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here to complete this top of wave 3 here. That's what I'm thinking. And this will be late Thursday afternoon, and in the US rather, and so Friday and Monday to get up to here somewhere. Tuesday, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, we start seeing that selling pressure come in at that point. So we do have a good trade here. I just don't know. I don't know for sure which is the best way to get that. So if it just moves straight up here, by all means, get triggered. Otherwise, we're going to move down to here and move up. Perhaps have a look at CBA as well, and the like. But yeah, look, this is a good setup. We're at a level here. We're at a good number here. We've done all the right things have been occurring. So we just got to kind of figure out, because wave 4s, there's a dozen different types of corrections, and they can all play out. They can all play out differently. So I'm just going to leave that sitting in the middle there. So we're not Arthur or Martha at this particular time with this. So we understand the situation. You know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Alrighty, I'm going to leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.